It is 6:02. This is the Master Plan Steering Committee meeting, November 12th, in the Ritter Building, lower level. According to the open meeting law.
Recording in progress.
In accordance with open meeting law, this meeting is recorded and will be posted within 24 hours on the Lunenburg Public Access website. So, thanks everyone for coming. It's been a little while since we've met. I feel like a lot's happened. So we'll just go through the agenda and a little bit of administrative stuff first. With our never-ending fight to get up to date on meeting minutes from our predecessors, and then we will go through just some notes on the facility tours that happened October 30th and 31st, so I have some stuff to share for that, and any upcoming tours I'll also let you know about then. We'll have any new committee feedback, if any, and then Donnie and Tristan will present some master plan updates and then some next steps. So, getting to it. Any public comment? No? Any committee comment? Okay. Pending meeting minutes, everyone's favorite topic. Okay, so I sent out, sorry, no worries. Share this for me. So pending meeting minutes, I sent out an email yesterday, and I know that it was kind of short notice, but I was up really late, really wanting to get meeting minutes done. So I'm sure if anybody looked at them, there was one from April 5th, 2024 that was old, like one of those older 2024 ones that we had previously kind of approved, because none of us were really there, or maybe a couple of us were. There's April 23rd of this year that was previously approved, but I was looking at them and it was missing some required information, including like the time and the location of the meeting. So I just added that content, and I would like to submit those to see if we'd like to reapprove them with that new content. Same as July 9th, and then I have the meeting minutes from October 15th as well. So, I think the strategy might be, do we want to just approve or like discuss approving the April one, since we're here anyways?
Yeah, I'll move, let's do them individually, leastwise the ones where
Yeah.
we weren't all here, and we had a different chair. So I'll move the meeting minutes of 4/5/24 for approval.
Second.
All right, so since we have time on the line, we'll do a roll call vote. Tony?
Aye.
I for myself. Jerry?
Aye.
Sandra?
Aye.
Glenn?
Aye.
Teddy?
I'll abstain.
Evelyn?
Aye.
And Tim on the line?
I'm here.
Okay, so we were just doing the roll call vote for the April 5th, 2024 meeting minutes approval motion.
Hang on, sorry, I'm having trouble understanding what's being said.
Oh,
See if I
no
can fix this.
Yeah, not a problem. In the meantime, I will pull these up because I do have them.
Nope.
But they're also.
Okay, I think that's better.
Okay, so we were doing roll call vote for the motion to approve the April 5th, 2024 meeting minutes that were from before most of us were there.
Yes, I'll look those over. Aye.
Wonderful. So the motion passes. April 5th, 2024 meeting minutes approved. All right, we'll move on to April 23rd, 2025.
I'll move the April 23rd, 2025 meeting minutes for approval.
Second.
Whatever.
Go for it.
Just moving it along.
Yes.
Here. Okay, so again, we'll do a roll call vote. Tony?
Aye.
And I for myself. Jerry?
Yes.
Aye.
Glenn?
Aye.
Teddy?
I'll abstain.
Okay. Hi. And Tim on the line. So,
Hi.
oh, dang it, I'm not presenting that. Oh wait, that's me presenting,
Yeah.
that's why. Yeah, because Teddy, you were not there yet, so. All right, so motion passes April 23rd, 2025, minutes approved. And I can just steal this, right? I'm screen sharing, but that's not what's going in there.
No, because it's being controlled by this.
Oh, I thought that was,
Let's see what happens, like, switch over here. Oh, it's signed up. No, because you're not controlling it.
is the Zoom call open though? I think they need to open the Zoom window. That's, I think, the problem. We'll fix it, yeah. Yeah, you're sharing from just the desktop, I'm sure it's in Zoom. Okay, so the next one. Okay, great. Now you can see a little bit better on Zoom. Okay, so we have, these are the July 9th meeting minutes with just the location and the time added. That was from previously. So,
That was a marathon meeting.
yeah, it was 6:03
So
to
like 9:02.
9:02.
Yeah, 9
So,
o'clock.
yep. Good times. All right, so,
I'll move the July 9th, 2025 for approval.
all right, second. We'll do a roll call vote. Tony?
Aye.
After myself. Jerry?
Yes.
Sonia?
Aye.
Glenn?
Aye.
Teddy?
Abstain.
Ellen? And Tim on the line.
Aye.
Great. Motion passes July 9th, 2025 meeting minutes. Approved. Okay. I think so many minutes approved, I'm so happy on the webpage. All our minutes on there. Okay. So this is a new one from October 15th. So this was from the last time we met. It was Zoom only. And these were the people in attendance. I did go back and look at the recording from PAC. So if I saw your face, I believe you were there on the Zoom call. But please let me know if you notice anything that you'd like to edit about them before we try to approve. So I'll call to order 7 o'clock. We approved some other meeting minutes, reviewed feedback, discussed the capital projects prioritization recommendation, some feedback from the superintendent, the town manager was in attendance. And then we got some feedback from some feedback that we were told we were going to get some feedback from the library, which we did, that we'll go through at this meeting. And then this was before the info session, so we just discussed that next.
I'll move the meeting minutes from October 15th, 2025 for approval.
Second.
Great. All right. Roll call, Tony?
Aye.
Aye for myself.
Yes.
Jerry? Sandra?
Aye.
Glenn?
Aye.
Teddy?
Aye.
Emily?
Abstain. I wasn't there.
Oh
Does it
yeah,
matter?
abstain. Yeah, doesn't. Yeah, I wasn't there either, so I guess you're supposed to be abstain.
Okay, yes, so we'll have Emily abstained. And Tim? I don't know if you were there.
I watched it as well then, since it wasn't. They look good.
So we have,
Tim vote.
Not yet, Tim,
Okay.
but Tim wasn't there, so I'm not sure having like,
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, abstain.
I think I voted on some meeting minutes that I wasn't at another meeting, and then
Oh, you're gonna get in
That's
trouble
okay.
now, man. Attorney General's coming for you.
So I guess my question is, so 1, 2, 3, 4 people voted aye. I don't know, this is like for somebody who's more experienced in this. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 people, like, does abstain people make a difference? Because like, in a majority,
like, are
I don't
they
think
counted?
I think it still counts. I think what you did still counts, but
like, does the motion pass though, technically for approval if you go,
What's the
equal amount?
majority? How many members?
well, it was half and half.
But how many members are there?
So our quorum is 5, but we have like 12.
Oh my God, who voted yes? Anthony?
Yeah,
Kim?
yeah.
Who else voted yes?
Glenn?
Glenn?
Teddy.
Teddy? That's it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was 4.
And then 4
4.
abstained. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fight to the death, Star Trek style.
So technically,
I
4
fear-
out of 5 is the majority of the quorum. So is it based
I
off
feel
of
like it
quorum?
still passes, but I'm not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd go with it, but I don't know.
Yeah. I'm like, I was actually thinking about it, like, well, what happens if
Yeah.
Nothing there.
But with the basis of 5 as the quorum, that's 4 is the majority, we'll have the motion pass. So the October 15th, 2025 meeting minutes approved. And since I already have those files, I can just send them to the top one.
Bless you.
Okay. Last thing about minutes, so on September 10th, we didn't have a quorum, so we'll put together just something that says we
No
didn't
quorum.
have one, yeah. And then September 24th in the library. Did you happen to take minutes? If you don't have the answer right now, that's fine, but.
I can check.
Was I there?
I don't think that way.
There's a recording, so, which is very nice. To know whether.
I do, I have something.
Sweet, perfect, so, whenever you get a chance. to
Yeah.
send those out, that'll be wonderful. Okay. All right, next on our agenda, we had some facility tours. I have a piece of paper here.
This one?
Yeah.
This? Nope.
There's 2 different ones. All right, that one's for after. This one's for this one. I'll also put it up on, actually, there should be like 5 different things there. I'll also be submitting this along with
Oh,
this.
do we all get one?
It's just one.
Oh, it's
How
just,
many
There's
copies?
one page, there's 3 or 4 copies, but it's
Oh, okay.
double-sided.
Okay.
So everyone can take one page if you want to read it.
okay.
If you feel free
Right there. Let's see. And then, this one?
This is a different one. Let me.
What was life like then?
I won't be able to grab it on here.
I'll present it on the
Yeah.
screen.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll open it up
Alright.
and I'll share it as well,
Alright.
but, just so that you can. Okay. Wish I could share 2 things at once. Just getting the technology up to speed. It's worth it, I promise. I want to just share my screen. Okay, well, I can't share my entire screen, I guess.
There you go.
Just the file. So, Tim, then let me just forward this to you as well, real quick, since I can't share it on the screen.
Sure, that'd be great, thank you.
Alright, sent. A little bit of delay. Can we get rid of that OK button on there? Unless we're gonna keep it up as we record it, it's just in the way. Sweet. Okay, now back to that. No. All right, okay, so yes, we had some facility tours on October 30th. Whoever was available, we looked at Town Hall, so it was myself, Tony, Matt Brenner, and a few other people from the Lunenburg Municipal Building Design Committee. And Jen Warren, the town manager, was also there to kind of show us around. So it was really cool. So I took some notes, which you'll see on the document, and then I also just took some photos because I thought it was really neat, some of the things that I took. On the 31st, we were at Turkey Hill. So we'll see some pictures here. But essentially, a lot of stuff in the document was like going from the top down.
That's the town hall.
So this is Town Hall.
Oh, you said Turkey Hill, I thought.
So I'll go add another.
Sorry.
So yeah, we went to both. So yeah, Town Hall, it was really cool. Built in 1867, super old. Originally it was a church. It was all like hand cut with like, you could see like axes. You know, there's the bell tower up there, which is the left picture, the one that you hear on the tops of the hour. The one in the picture in the middle is the controller for the clock, the clock and the bell tower together. So that's really, really cool to see. It's all just operating all on its own. And then you can see on the right, it's just a lot of like, this is the way going up into the upper level, into the attic, which is currently empty. But you can see like all of the wood, the original woodwork, kind of old school stuff. This is some other pictures of the left two are from that same attic area. You can see all of the like etching of all the handmade wood. You know, these structures that were put together using just wood. No like nails, or I mean, sure there's some places, but all of these connection points, like they don't make stuff like this anymore. You know, you can see how everything's put together. On the right in the basement, all of these structural supports, they were assessed by an engineer to be in wonderful condition. The building was so structurally sound, it's not like tilted, nothing's like in a weird angle. So all this is like original wood. It's painted white, I think to maybe just protect it from moisture, but it was a really cool thing to see if all of this old structure is still so well kept, and would, it'd be cool for Lunenburg to keep this around and maintain it, if you appreciate old architecture. So I'm not a building engineer, but that's what experts are for, and I don't know if anyone else who was there wants to add any other additional?
I am a building engineer. And I can tell you that that building is a stout, strong building. And one of the reasons why I wanted to start the tour at the top is because the foundation, because if you go into the basement and you kind of see these beams or these columns get, pretty good sized splits in the wood, you might go, oh, this building is really in bad shape. But if you go to the top part of the building and look first, that's where things show up if the foundation is bad. And nothing was bad in the attic. And the framing members are extremely stout, extremely strong. And what's interesting about the bell tower is that the bell tower has a bunch of T-Mobile equipment in it, including a bunch of batteries that weigh they have a lot of poundage associated with them. And they are at the very top of the building, and nothing is falling apart. So I think that, Town Hall is a pretty stout building, and it deserves to be renovated. There was a lot of debate about how high is the first floor ceiling. It's more than adequate for it to become like a meeting space. Now, if you go in there, there's multiple levels based on false ceilings and false plaster ceilings, false drywall ceilings. And the same goes for the floor. There's multiple layers of old flooring, and that has a tendency to create creaks and unevenness, which can all be rectified through a renovation project. But it's really a great old building.
Yeah, thanks. Some of the other things I outlined in the document there were, right, like the things that would need to be looked at. But people like really prioritize wanting to, take a look at this building for renovation. I'm trying to pull it up on my phone because I don't enough copies. Specifically, just like the ADA stuff. When I was on the second floor at the select board room, like the big room, we were sitting there and Jen was like, oh, who wants to volunteer to go down the left? And so I'm like, well, me, I'll do it, whatever. And so they were sitting there like watching me figure it out because it's hard to figure out how it works. And then actually getting in there, if I was like in a wheelchair or, other like a physically disabled, like it's not ergonomically like set up to be able to do it. And then I was actually in there. It was like probably like the worst thing that's ever happened to me, which is like relatively like,
Terrifying.
But yeah, it was like such a small location. The walls were like moving. Like I was reassured that it works very well, and it's great to be like it works. So I didn't feel like I was gonna be trapped in there forever, but I still did feel like I was gonna be trapped in there forever. And then it goes down. It's like in this little hallway. So it just wasn't. I feel bad for anyone who has to use that. So as part that's something that I definitely would like to get at least a facelift and made it a little bit more welcoming and more ergonomic during renovation for Town Hall. Especially if we're going to keep a meeting room up there, which debate we might, we can do whatever we want, when it comes to it when things are being renovated. But if we're going to keep a space up there that people should go to for public meetings, it needs to be better for sure. Yeah, it's definitely something I never really thought about before, and then you're in it, and you're like, man. All right, so Ritter, I didn't take any pictures of Ritter. We're usually in here, so we can always go up and look because it's actually really cool. So we went, the add-on, this and that. The original building was the library, and they took down the little staircase in the front. There's so much cool architecture and woodwork up in that main old library area that there's all the half walls for the building commissioner and all of that stuff does such a disservice to how cool the room actually would look if there wasn't all that stuff blocking it. So I thought that would be really cool if we were able to, if the town decided to renovate it and reuse it as a bigger space instead of offices, if things were removed around. Because again, it's a really cool area, similar to Town Hall. It has this old structure stuff, and we should maintain it and reuse it in a good way. So if anyone's interested in seeing that, pop upstairs and Obviously, again, just there's those lifts here, they do look better than the other ones, so getting up is, you can do it, but it's not as terrifying. I didn't go in there though. And yeah, a lot of discussion on Ritter, but overall, all I have to say.
All three buildings that we toured need elevators.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the problems that we had with the $22 million project that dealt with Ritter and Town Hall that was voted down at the May annual town meeting is that both buildings, both Ritter and Town Hall, were going to remain with chairlifts, except Ritter was going to have an elevator in addition to the chairlift, which makes no sense at all. And if you're going to spend money to renovate a building, like Town Hall and Ritter, you should end up with a single elevator in both of these buildings, not a chairlift in Town Hall, chairlift here, and an elevator here. You got to reconfigure things. And the same thing holds true for Turkey Hill. Turkey Hill is a chairlift, it needs an elevator. And I think that there's all kinds of ways of doing this, and that'll be in terms of Town Hall and Ritter, one of the issues that the Lunenburg Municipal Building Design Committee has been talking about, and I'm part of that group, is where's the best place to put the elevator here, and where's the best place to put the elevator at Town Hall. And those are design issues that are extremely complicated, especially for this building, because it has a split level personality. And what we want to do is we want to bring people in at ground level, but if you do that, then you complicate the split level personality of the Ritter building. Town Hall is a little bit different. You know, we think we can get people from ground level into the building by just doing some additional concrete work at the entryway. But then the issue is, where do you put the elevator? Currently, the chairlift is way in the back. That's not where you put elevators. You put elevators up front so that people can get in them and get where they need to go, you know, in a multi-level building. So those are the things that we've been talking about at the Lunenburg Municipal Building Design Committee. That committee's not involved with Turkey Hill, but Turkey Hill needs an elevator too.
I didn't take many pictures of Turkey Hill, speaking of leading to that, but it was my first time in there, so we got a tour by one of the facilities personnel, and then the principal, so that was really fun. It felt very, very special. And you know, the building itself, it reminded me of like the schools that I went to when I was younger. Definitely needs like a facelift, but a lot of it seemed, you know, when I was told, very structurally okay. But also made me feel really better because when I was there on Halloween, all the kids were all dressed up, and the teachers and the administration, like everybody was so great. I'm like, I actually like, by going there, I like feel, not that I didn't know anything about the school system before, it made me feel so much better about the school system and all the teachers, because they all, it seemed, you know, really to care a lot. But in the notes that I put down, obviously there's like from facilities functionality, my biggest concern about it was like we're using classrooms for things that aren't classrooms. Like all of the administrative offices are located in one area, which is a good idea, but like they took the like the art room, for example, and so now like the current art room doesn't have a sink, and so, but it's like being used as an office. You know, one of the classrooms that could be used is being used as the superintendent's office. The music room is being used for the ACE program, and so now the current music room is on the second floor, which doesn't have soundproofing, so it disrupts the other classes while music is happening. And the boys' locker room, which they're not using because it used to be the middle school. They're not using the locker room right now, but it's like being used as like the police officer office, and then like the girls' locker room is being used as like storage and a PE. So it's just like all over the place, and I feel like this building especially could use a lot of like strategic of like where can people go to make it make sense, because it didn't really make too much sense to me right now. Like we're not using the classrooms as they should be, although like we could be, maybe there's not enough space and some things need to move or something, but so all to say is that I think it seemed the school was really great, but we need to be more strategic, and obviously that's outside of my purview, but that was just my impression of like if the town decides to renovate Turkey Hill, which the public has expressed an interest in, we should definitely strategically think about all of these things of how we're using it now and making it practical to meet our needs and not the opposite of like we're taking away amenities because we need something for something else. And then also ADA compliance as well. I was told that the ADA bathrooms like didn't fit wheelchairs and all this stuff, and so
Not even the nurse's bathroom doesn't
That
even.
needs to get fixed.
Yeah.
yeah,
The
like-
nurse's bathroom is tiny. You can't even, my daughter needs a stool to use the bathroom and you can't even fit a stool in there. It's so small.
Yeah, so definitely things need to be improved in there as well. But overall, it seemed like if we fixed those decisions and some plumbing and some things and maybe painted and fixed some, as you can see here, like the trim work even, it's just like in the principal's office, it's right in the front, like it's so damaged, and it just puts off like this impression of, you know, we don't care about it, but we do. You know, so and I think people care, but we don't have this strategy to like think about the finances and then what to actually do. So I'm hoping that when this gains some traction, that all can happen.
Did you ride the lift in there?
No, I saw it though. I was too scared. I was like too traumatized
So
by the
imagine
town hall one.
a third grader having to use that
Oh,
if they
yeah.
were injured or had a wheelchair or
Yeah.
couldn't walk up the stairs.
Yeah, no, it was
Terrifying.
It actually looked worse because they used that lift as like an elevator to move supplies around. So it's all like dented, scuffed up, like paint, and like dark. It was in, I think, worse condition than the town hall one.
There's like
so-
flickering lights when you.
Yeah, but again, I was reassured, it works very well, it is reliable and it works, which is great. You know, if you're gonna have two options, then you might as well the one that works well. So, and I think the thing is like if we replaced, goes to show like a lot of the things that are older are made well and last a long time, and fixing them, I think, is better in the long run than just tearing something down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was all to say, so it's, you know, building tour notes by Ian.
The building is in great shape. I've seen a lot of masonry buildings of that age, and the building has no cracking. It was well constructed, it's well built, it's been fairly well maintained. It definitely needs ADA, those needs to be addressed ASAP. Which then brings me to the conversation on why is the Master Plan Steering Committee touring these buildings? Is because, you know, beginning this past summer, we started talking about priority projects. And I think that Turkey Hill is a very high priority project. And I think that for a master plan to say, here are our priority projects, and I think we also would agree based on the tour that we took, as well as the members of the Lunenburg Municipal Building Design Committee, we need to do something with Town Hall and where, you know, it's not an efficient way to run a business. It's difficult for the town manager to manage her workforce when she's got them split in two different locations. And I think that, in particular for Town Hall and the spaces that are over there, it's hard to recruit high-quality talent. Like, for example, right now, we're trying to hire a finance director, and anybody who's worth their weight in gold is gonna walk in Town Hall and go, oh, I think I'll go look someplace else, because there's a lot of other places that have better environment. You know, so from a master plan steering committee perspective, I think that what we saw in the tours that we took is, these are priority projects. Now, you know, we've had some discussion with Karen Menard, who's the park director, and she's challenging whether or not we should be ranking projects. Ranking projects, I think, is completely different than saying we have priority projects. You know, we have not said Town Hall River is number one, we have not said Turkey Hill's number one, but we have said, I think as a group, and we kind of confirmed it with the tour, these projects, they need to move forward, you know. Now, which one goes first, which one goes second, you know, I think those are difficult to do. But I think from a standpoint of why did we go and do this tour, it was to confirm that these are projects that need some work.
Yeah, and based off a lot of the public feedback, people are prioritizing these, so that was one of my biggest motivations for going, is to see for myself, like, the comments that people are making about the different facilities, you know, because you don't really understand people, like, people's feedback and comments about why things are a priority until you go see it yourself. So, it was one of my biggest motivators there.
Yeah, the other thing is, Turkey Hill, other than a small space where the secretary and the principals reside, it's the only town building that doesn't have air conditioning. And that's incredible. I mean, when you think about, teachers being there, during the late summer, early fall, and then being there in the spring, early summer, in an un-air-conditioned space, and the students, it's no way to run an educational facility today. And, the cooling degree days in Lunenburg have doubled since 1971, which says that whether you believe in global warming or not, I can tell you factually that we have twice as much of a need for air conditioning from 1971 to 2021. That was the latest that the Weather Service had that data. Is that, it's twice as warm as it was in 1971, and it's not fair for those kids and those staff members down there to be in an unair conditioned environment.
So, that being said, on November 15th, on this Saturday at 10:30 in the morning, we're going on a Marshall Park tour. If anyone is interested in joining, you're more than welcome, whether you're on the committee or not. It's just, we're being hosted by, by Karen on Parks. So, probably last maybe hour. It depends on how much she has to say, but I'd say about an hour or so. Another area that I've never been to and have heard a lot about, so I'm very interested in that. So feel free to stop by if you have the time. And then we're also hoping to get TC Passios on the list as well.
Yeah, I have not worked that, but we'll get into TC Passios. TC Passios is, what are we going to use the space for? I mean, we have things there that are in direct support of the Eagle House. They do pickleball during the wintertime. The teen center uses the gymnasium for their programs. And now that the school's moved out, there's not a bona fide town function within the building. PAC's still there. PAC should be someplace else based on what their needs are. And, but the real issue with TC Passios is what do we want to do with that space? There's way more space in it than what the town will ever use for the foreseeable future. Not unless we turn Lunenburg into an urban area, which our master plan says we don't want to. So, for at least the next 10 years, we don't want it to be an urban area. So, but we'll get into TC Passios. I would highly encourage you to come and join the conversation, because this issue of priority projects and what goes first, what gets done. If you remember the conversation that Jennifer Warren had with us in October, she said the town's only going to vote for maybe 2 debt excluded projects. And we've had conversations amongst ourselves since that comment was made. And I've done some research, and it's like, she's correct. If you look at what we've done, we've had basically 2 projects over the last 20 years per 10-year period. And what's difficult to try and understand is let me bring up my sheet here, because I think this is critical stuff. So we've had public safety, the Lunenburg Library, the primary school, the Department of Public Works, and the middle high school, beginning with 2006 with the public safety building. Lunenburg Library came online basically the same time, and the primary school came on shortly thereafter. So that meant during that time frame, there was a burst of debt excluded projects. Now, I talked to Muir Hammond just before I came to this meeting today, and I'm not sure that the Lunenburg Library was actually excluded debt. It may have been something different. He was unsure. But I do know public safety, primary school, Department of Public Works, and the middle high school. Projects that span from 2004 to 2025. Those 4 projects are for sure debt excluded projects. So you say, all right, 4 out of 20 years, that means 2 a year. So if we're looking at the master plan language and we say we have priority projects, Marshall Park, the town hall, town administration function, Ritter Town Hall, Turkey Hill, we're now one over, so which one is gonna be the one over? Is it Town Hall and Turkey Hill? Is it Town Hall and Marshall Park? Is it Turkey Hill and Marshall Park? I mean, I think those are really difficult decisions that the town has to make. And what I think that there is one saving piece here to maybe having more than just 2 projects over the 10-year life of our master plan, and that is we haven't done much debt exclusion projects recently. The last one was the middle high school. And while that won't be paid off until 2033, the others will be. And I think that we might have a little more headroom to say, all right, we can take on a little more debt. And that may be a way to get 3 projects. We're not gonna get 4. I completely agree with Jennifer. I think that it would be a stretch for the taxpayers to vote for 4, because debt, excluded debt has an impact on other things in the town, so. But
Getting our finance director would help
Mhm.
strategically, figuring all that stuff out. So,
Yeah.
it all comes full circle.
But I think those are legitimate things for us to talk about with the finance committee. They manage excluded debt because they have a direct say on what the budget should be. And I think that we need to go to the finance committee but prior to ending up with this master plan and saying to them, what do you think the strategy should be for taking on excluding debt over the next 10 years? And get some feedback from them, because it may actually, provide some more headroom for getting more than 2 projects over the next 10 years.
Yeah, maybe that could be a part of the implementation committee.
Yeah.
Because after we put the plan out, like, we're gonna have, these, items up here, and we're not gonna say like, oh, we can only do 2, like, these are the priorities, and then after we figure out how to do it,
Glenn, you've had an eye on the Marshall Park project, and you live and work in Town Hall now as a select board member. If you have 2 projects or you have 3 projects, what do you think you would prefer?
Well, I mean, a lot of it does depend on the scope of a lot of these projects. Like specifically the town hall project, I've always come from the vantage point of working from just rehabbing the current workspaces as they are. And if that's, a much smaller number, then that opens, the future up to other projects. And I think that was one of the challenges during the last May town meeting was exactly that. The significant price tag of this project, the town hall project, coupled with a fairly, sizable Marshall Park project. So those 2, in my opinion, were, I did not vote in favor of those 2 projects as a citizen. So in that context, I thought 2 was too many. But again, if it was, during the preliminary stages of that town hall project, it was just kind of, spitballed that if they just rehabbed both of the buildings, it was in like the single millions of dollars. I think the number was 7. So if that was the project at that point for rehabbing Ritter, rehabbing Town Hall for $7 million, I've been wide open to a discussion about the Marshall Park. But again, where this project was so expensive, it just I thought they kind of collapsed in on themselves. So it really would depend on, the scope of the projects. So it's hard to say 2, 3. I mean, if there were 3 really, efficient and, cheap, inexpensive projects, and yeah, three's great, let's get it done. But I don't know if that would be realistic. And that's kind of one of the points where I still kind of come from is, particularly with all the conversations about affordability in general, and with the SNAP benefits in the schools, with the bus fees, there's all these impassioned discussions about affordability, and that's why I've always been at the end of rehabbing this building and rehabbing Town Hall, essentially capturing the work that's already done there and just professionalizing them from that end, and keeping the projects affordable so that we don't have those impacts on the taxpayers. And, you know, instead of solving the symptoms, let's, you know, more approach the core of affordability, because everything else will fall into place if things are affordable. And again, going back, I think doing that project for 25 or 22 plus million dollars was not capturing the struggles that a lot of, you know, Lunenburg residents have. I know, sorry, that was a long answer.
Mike just joined us on the line. I just wanted to know. Mike Brock just joined us on the line, just wanted to know. 6:40. Yeah, thanks, Glenn. So it sounds more like if we communicate across all the different boards for the projects that we're proposing and discussing, that we could make more work if we just worked together and made things more reasonable. Because if two people are independent, two teams, two committees, two departments are independently proposing big projects, both will fail. But if we work together and, you know, figure out, like, not have competing projects, we might be able to get more done.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It does capture the whole, and that's why, you know, I do think it's a little awkward for this committee to be so involved with the buildings aspect, particularly with the Municipal Building Design Committee. But somebody has to have that conversation, and somebody has to get all of those buildings and the challenges that they present before the voters, because that is part of it. You know, again, with the expense of the proposed projects, we still have to understand that there's, you know, significant amounts of millions to deal with TC Passios, regardless, in terms of remediation of the asbestos and knocking it down. There's just so many, you know, big ticket items to address. And again, that goes to why I think these projects have to be very, you know, efficient and minor in scope.
You raised a really good point about why are we doing this? Because we were challenged when we were talking to Karen Menard via email about why is the Master Plan Steering Committee identifying priority projects? And I think that because no one else has.
Yeah, it's a healthy discussion for someone to have, and it's landed here. You guys are willing. And it's very important, because that's what weighed on me and against the big $22 million project, was because there were so many other huge projects down the road that the residents have to know that those are coming. Like, you have to know, like, oh, if I spend $22+ million on this building, and then later find out, oh, we've got to spend $10 million on just getting rid of, TC Passios, or, it'd be frustrating. So someone has to put it out there and, and not prioritize, because let's face it, it changes day to day,
Ranking is different than identifying priority projects. I think that's, she challenged us to say, well, you shouldn't be ranking projects. I don't think we are. I mean, I think we're identifying projects. The ultimate ranker is the citizens when they vote at town meeting.
Yeah, and it's through all the feedback too, is this is what people are telling us. So if we're hearing the most that these top 3 are what people care about the most, I mean, it's not necessarily us prioritizing them, they were prioritized as a result of feedback that we collected. And we're kind of doing the research and the due diligence of, hey, like, this is what people are saying, like, do we agree with that? Can we see it? And yeah, so I think the answer is yes. And I agree, like, no one is slated, at least that I know of, like, to make this conversation happen. And so since not one person is allowed to do it or slated to do it, nobody's going to. And I guess I don't mind trying. So, but yeah, because I consider this as kind of an overarching, project management of the town of it. And I think that's important. If we want to do anything, we have to think about it in a better way, because we don't have all the money to do it. But if we want anything, we have to figure it out. And not doing anything about it doesn't make it go away. Yeah, like, we're gonna have to spend the money eventually. But it's all for a good cause. It's to keep the town as people want it. The open space, the agricultural areas. And we don't want this building into a big, big city with towering buildings. That's how some people fund and, they get their revenue from. And they have some money to do it. But if we want to keep that kind of open, like the freedom of the space, we have to be more careful about the money, but we still need to maintain everything.
Can we ask our consultant for his comments on the subject of prioritization versus ranking? And what role this plays in a master plan?
So, these things are often the art of the possible, right? And getting consensus on what you can get consensus on. In a different situation, ranking might make a lot of sense. I don't think this is one of those situations. I think identifying whatever number you are comfortable identifying, it sounds like you have, I'm hearing 4 separate properties, but maybe 2 of them are one project. So Town Hall and Ritter seem to be linked in people's minds. So let's call it one project.
Town admin.
Yeah, because it's for really the town administration. And then there's an important open space project and an important elementary school. So I think that to me sounds like 3 projects. And each of them have their constituents and advocates. And if we identify them as priorities, not rank them, not say which one to do first, but rank them, but prioritize them as a group. And if we can agree on that, and I think we're already ahead of where we were when we started this.
Yeah, it's at least a starting point. People have mentioned things can change. So things can change, but we need to start with some sort of plan and go from there. So yeah, it's good to hear that, it sounds like some other towns, actually do rank them, others do prioritize. It's inclusive of some towns' master plans, essentially.
And this was, when we started this process, we were told that this was a thorny issue, and it continues to be. But I do feel like 2 things have happened. You sort of established criteria for how you view things as important, and there seems to be some consensus coalescing around a group of projects as sort of they're all important, but these are more important. So those are positive signs in my opinion.
Progress. So, just for the sake of time, I'm going to move on unless anyone has anything else they would like to add to that. Also feel free to speak up later if you'd like to. For the next item, any new committee feedback on recommendation drafts. So we got a couple new ones, so PAC and Parks, which I forwarded, so hoping that this spreadsheet is coming along, or whatever format you're now organizing things into. Because now that, before we move on to your presentation, I did have just the follow-up from the library, the feedback from the library trustees. So at the last meeting, we were talking about the Brooks House, and since it's located right in front of the library, they indicated that the library trustees would probably have some feedback on that. And so this is the feedback that was provided in this here, if anyone's interested. Your reference will be there. And so essentially they're stating that what happens to the Brooks House is impactful to the library. They would prefer it to be torn down in open space other than not sold to private entity, because then we can't control, it's right next to a school, right next to the library,
true.
Kind of like interferes with, maybe a little bit of public safety, some parking, this and that. So, actually, Tim, I'll send this to you as well, and I'll just send it to, because Mike's on here as well.
Oh man, they want to demolish it, huh?
Or we can find a really great place for someone to take it. My idea of seeing if the Big E was interested, quote by Matt Rutter, wasn't the worst idea he ever heard. So.
Well, I know we just have people here who are very sentimental.
I'm not an advocate for, but I am an advocate for people not having something inappropriate next to a school and a library.
Yeah.
Which I don't think anyone can disagree about, you know, but.
Oh, it just, well, I mean, I don't really.
But that's the library board of trustees feedback, so I wanted to pass that along, and we'll also add that to the meeting minutes as well. Mike and Tim, I'm about to email it so that you can look at this as well with us.
The Lunenburg Municipal Building Design Committee did look at the Brooks House, and almost to a person, they all said it was in better shape than they thought it was, and that it was salvageable and usable. The issue is, what's the use, you know? One of the things that we did, I think, the building committee did put an end to was the ACE program going into the Brooks House. And thank goodness, because when we took the tour of Turkey Hill, the principal at Turkey Hill said, "Oh my God, I'm so glad the ACE program is here." And he says, they bring something to us that we use, you know, they help us out, and we bring them a feeling of belonging. He says, they feel like they're a part of us. And when he said that, I thought, oh my God, had we approved that $22 million project, we would have had those kids here. And they didn't deserve to be here.
Right.
And this goes back to scope. And Glenn, you're absolutely right. If we scope these projects the way they need to be scoped and not put students in a town administration facility, that it'll be better for them. And, you know, so it was, I mean, I was just so thrilled to hear him say, it's great for them, it's great for us. And that's the kind of stuff that you get when you take a tour of the building. That's why it's so important for us to go out and look. And that's why I highly encourage you all to join us at Marshall Park on Saturday.
I look forward to that one.
Yeah, yeah, and I've heard so much about it, and I've heard back and hearing it from Parks Commission, you know, best source you can get. Yeah.
I also really like the idea of using or having the library oversee the Brooks House as a creative space. Because like just having more.
I brought that up.
Yeah.
I did, and it went nowhere.
But they look, I mean,
Let's put it this way, it went nowhere with the Board of Trustees. I think Muir Hammond he likes the idea, making it a creative makerspace.
Oh,
I think that would be awesome.
oh yeah.
It would be,
Okay.
I
but it
think-
would cost money.
Yeah, I think overall they were like, sure, aspirationally, they loved the concept, but recognizing
It costs
the,
money.
yeah, they were like, just a realistic answer. But yeah, generally, I would say they you know, would love something like that. I mean, it's a fantastic idea, but
It's the money issue.
yeah.
No, if there's ever a place to find grant money, libraries are a place to do it. And in fact, I think that is, I'll get my question answered about whether the library was debt excluded or it was a combination of grants and federal money at the time.
I just think that building would still just present the same problems. It would be so incredibly expensive to adapt that it would be cheaper to just add on to the library.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Big conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
But,
plenty of good ideas.
Yeah, so yeah, great ideas, but you know, you have to start somewhere, and I think, you know, getting this, getting the thought pushed, and the conversation started, so that hopefully, once this plan is put out, and approved, we'll have something to, stand on for the future.
What is TC Passios used for? He said pickleball for the
Seniors.
seniors.
There's three things in there. There's the food pantry, the gymnasium, which both teen center and senior center, the adult learning center uses, and that's it.
Oh, and voting.
Yeah, voting.
And voting.
And
Yeah, I
the
remember going
gym
there for voting.
Yeah, the food pantry.
But then that's largely like empty most of the time.
And PAC has their studio in there right
There's
now.
parts of it you can't use because
Oh.
of the asbestos.
Yeah, the roof is
Yeah.
leaking, so it's causing asbestos to drip onto the floor.
Oh,
So
no.
they
So
have-
that
See,
part is
yes.
blocked,
Yeah,
you
mine's
can't go
blocked
in
off.
those.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, yeah, I don't know how we do anything in there really, besides go in, vote and leave. Like, that should be like the time limit you're allowed to be in
Okay.
the building.
That makes
yeah.
sense.
Well, you know what kind of worries me? The food pantry.
Yeah.
Is there.
And we rent it out to Shapiro. Like, there's so many incongruities, like, just a lot of it simply
So
doesn't
parts
make
of
sense.
it are not affected at this time. Parts of that
At this
building
time, but
aren't.
maybe right now.
Right, but we'll
So
all be
only-
impacted if we don't do anything.
Right,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. So there's parts of it that are perfectly functional and
Yeah.
not causing any
But-
harm to anybody.
But still
at
have
this
the,
time.
but still have the asbestos in
Yes,
it.
it's just not actively
Right.
impacting
Great.
anybody
Pretty sure,
right
Great.
now,
Okay.
Awesome.
right now.
which is why kids can't be in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those parts.
It's a hot mess.
It is.
It's a common problem with buildings of that era, because asbestos is used in so many, it was the great product
My-
of its time.
Yeah,
My house is
And-
covered in asbestos. I
and
get.
As long as it's sort of remains
stable, yeah.
behind
Yeah.
walls or behind, like as long as, or
You don't
behind,
touch it and.
you don't dig it up, it's supposed to be safe. But once you do, then it's hot and you have to worry about it.
Yeah, which now the roof leaking is causing the problem.
Yeah, because the
It-
tiles are lifting up and the asbestos in the bottom
yeah,
are getting.
glue,
Yeah.
everything, yeah.
So eventually that could happen to the entire building.
What-
And I mean,
It would be better
asbestos or other things,
Yeah, it would be better to be
And-
proactive and.
eventually, if you don't, you know, it could be operational money level things to take care of, but if that maintenance is deferred
Too long.
too long, then the problem is compounded. You all know.
Similar
Yeah.
to some of the school issues.
Yeah. Well, when was
as
that
well.
building built?
What?
Kisu Pass.
When was he,
Yeah.
I think it came online in 55.
Okay. And when did asbestos go out of style?
In the mid-70s.
70s.
So does Turkey Hill have this issue? Because when did Turkey Hill?
69.
Okay.
It has vinyl asbestos floor tile, which is non-friable, and as long as you're not, you know,
Actively.
actively
walking on it.
destroying the tile, it's not a problem. They're,
If you, I mean, we're dealing with this with a number of projects we're working on now, buildings of that era. If you decide to do new flooring,
Yeah.
you have to abate it
Yeah.
first, right? So that, because the glue had asbestos in it. So
Yeah.
pipes, the insulation around pipes, buildings of that area are often with asbestos. So if you leave them in the wall, it's fine, but the minute you need to upgrade the system and you have to break into that wall, you have to abate it.
Is it just in the floors and?
I don't know.
Because if we're talking about renovating,
I
it's a
haven't
whole
seen the
nother.
engineer's report. That would be in.
I don't remember, because they did do a whole
Yeah.
write up on
My
it, but I
guess
can't
is
remember the
that-
asbestos piece.
That it probably doesn't have much in it. I mean, that was kind of the bridge time. You know, by 1975, you couldn't buy asbestos.
Right.
Yeah,
You know.
But
so
then, but then
16
PFAS came on,
What?
and now everything's
Yeah.
covered in
And
PFAS.
the lead paint.
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, that PFAS is a whole new.
But but you mentioned the PFAS thing, that is one of the issues, like the water takers, I think there's 2,500 water takers in town, and they're confronting that PFAS. And then there was one point, the discussion was up to $70 million for a treatment plant with $1 million maintenance, rough numbers, every year after that. So I mean, those are the type of issues that go to affordability, and that we have to be mindful in everything we do, particularly the buildings, all these big ticket items. There's a lot of things on the radar. It's smaller, much smaller scale, but its big number is the turf field. You know, that's $2.5 million. I mean, these are huge, you know, impactful things to the, again, all these, you know, residents who are already struggling. But, all right, I won't go down that hole again. But the PFAS reminded me, that's a huge thing for water takers.
Yeah, well, they just rolled back, I thought BP rolled back the regulations, so now we won't have to do that.
Oh, I
mean,
hope
it's
so.
not
I
that
figured it was
that's
only a matter of
good,
time.
But,
Well, one, you know, not to get down that rabbit hole. My whole thing was, I think they should put people on notice. Like, this is potentially in your water. If you want to put a filter on your kitchen sink, or your whole house, or not at all, I think that should be up to you. As long as you're on notice that it's because it was flirting with the level of like 4 parts per trillion, which was the new regulation. So it was like, to spend $70 million for that was like, but anyway, that's a whole
Right,
other
people
story.
complain about house bill, that's the thing, like, that's maybe the compromise that, like, we have to make, especially if they roll it back, like, yeah, we don't technically have to, you know, remediate this anymore,
Yeah.
but we know it's still potentially a problem, and we're just letting you know, so that you can choose to do something about it.
Right,
if you
exactly.
want to or can. Yeah, because I think putting a filtration system on your house,
Yeah.
that's much more affordable than
Yeah.
funding a plant.
Yeah,
that
washing your
costs-
car with PFAS-free water. You know, it's like, you don't need to, well, that's my
I mean, it would be
opinion.
great, like, environmentally, because then we would be removing PFAS in reintroduction into the environment, except that whenever they do those filters. and they
Yeah,
collect
right,
it. I
and then
also
there's
don't know what
still
they do with that,
Yeah.
but.
I bring it up more to be like proactive and like making sure that the materials that we use going forward are free from
Right.
PFAS because they don't go away, and so once they're there, they're there forever, and they cause cancer and a number of health problems.
Yeah. Well, it's me, you don't have plastic bags in town, so
Mhm.
there's that one. Because those were banned a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I remember that.
that's one thing. Except for the trash bags, those are
Yeah.
still plastic, which was my first pet peeve
Yeah,
of.
I put my trash bag into a trash bag.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, trash bag and trash bag. So in terms of the committees that we just haven't heard back from yet for all of these recommendations, there's a handful. I followed up with, I resent like a third or fourth email again today to their board chairs or members of their committees. But some I just haven't heard back from. A lot of them did say that they were gonna look at them, but then I never got something. So,
They didn't.
yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think I'm gonna get like the Commission on Trust. I don't think we'll get anything from them. The one that I just followed up with again, another note, is Finance Committee. And now I'm gonna try and approach it for not just the recommendations, but the discussion about an analysis of excluded debt.
Yeah.
I
We
think
got
that's the
Finance
most,
Committee.
what?
We got the Finance Committee feedback, didn't we?
No.
No,
I
really?
have it here that we did.
I think we,
Did we?
if we were talking about the, we did get some committee with finance and that side, so I don't know.
FinCom?
Yeah,
FinCom,
Yeah, so
okay.
they did give us.
I was about to say.
Because I'm showing it didn't come in. Hold on.
It was after,
Let's see, I think they did it a while ago and then it never got sent and then was talking to Karen, and then it got sent my
See,
way.
I only have.
Or maybe we were talking to Mike, I don't know, I was talking to somebody and they're like, oh, we already did that, and then they sent it to me.
Yeah.
But we have Finance Committee.
And who'd you get that from? Because it didn't come from Chris. Because I'm looking at my,
Let's see.
I got my screen right now. Unless he sent it to you directly.
Let me see. Yeah, Chris sent it to me September 26th.
Okay. And he sent that to you directly. That's the reason why I didn't know. All right.
Yep, and then I forwarded it, so, we do have, who I really want to hear from is the planning board. Yeah. I want to hear from capital planning, I think that's important, as well.
Matt's chaired that, is he not?
I don't think he's chair, but he is on it.
He's on it.
Peter Beardmore, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have an email address at the town,
Mr. Beardmore?
that I couldn't find it.
I would think he did, but no.
It wasn't coming up.
Oh, he would have had schools before. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, so someone tell him.
Yeah.
I'll get that for you. Because him and Tony communicate, I'll text them right now.
Thanks. Yeah, and I did also send out another email to Tony and you for a school committee.
Sense up.
Yeah, we really, really want it. Those are the big three remaining. Obviously, we want everybody's, but those have the most amount of things impacting on the recommendations. Obviously, we also reached back out to ZBA, Sewer Commission, Stormwater, Board of Assessors, Council on Aging, Board of Health, Lunenburg Housing Authority, and then Americans with Disabilities Committee.
That's some pretty heavy hitters that did not
Yes,
respond.
Yep.
Okay.
So, I mean, we sent out yes, I could have tracked them down and gone to one of their meetings, but I also have a full-time job.
Right, there's only,
Unfortunately, I wish I could just get paid to do this instead.
right.
So,
I mean, I'm surprised that, who was the last one? Did you say it was the disability committee?
yeah, Americans with Disability Committee, yeah. Yeah, because like, I feel like they might know some like resources for things or have had assessments done, you know?
Right.
I'm not sure, but that would be my imagination of what they would do. So,
I guess I would also want to make sure that, especially because we have a whole sort of goal dedicated to the schools, that we're not doing anything that's out of line with the school's needs or plans, so.
I can tell you Turkey Hill is top of that list as well, so.
Yeah.
There's school
I
committee.
am on the school committee.
Yeah, but is there a school
I am
committee
not the
representation?
chair of the school committee.
That's why I'm bringing it up. I'm looking at you. I'm bringing you up.
But I am not the chair,
Quite well.
but I do go to
It's on
those
his
meetings,
topic.
and I'm on the committee, so I can tell you Turkey Hill is definitely
Right.
up there.
But there are, I mean, there's a ton of recommendations that are specifically
Yeah.
for school related. I just want to make sure that.
And we also have our own goals as the school committee that encompass some of the things that we've been talking about, so.
Yeah, like the vocational trainings program, that's one of the recommendations, and I know you guys are talking about that too. So we're not in conflict. Master plan language is not in conflict.
Yeah, I don't think there's any conflicts there, as far as priorities.
can't think of
We're counting on
that.
Emily.
Well, I really want the feedback for all of them, yeah, and whatever the school committee can provide back. I mean, even if it's just like a couple things, it's better than nothing, but, you know, do you want me to come to your meeting?
You can.
Like, what is, I guess, what's holding up it being on the agenda?
No idea.
Mm.
I have
I-
asked
I've-
for
I've
that
talked to
several
him about
times.
that. I'll talk to him again.
There we go.
When's the next meeting?
I've done as much as I can for that. I don't know where else I could go
Mm.
in that direction.
So then my question is like, so we're going to town meeting next Tuesday, right? Like, so what happens? Go to the town meeting, we don't have feedback from some of these pretty important committees.
Yes, so we do have a presentation that's already been made and sent to the town manager for that meeting. And I was gonna, after Rami gives his presentation, go over that, because that's after that on the agenda. So obviously, we can still change, we're going to present current what we have,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all we can do. And then as we continue to hopefully get more feedback, we'll add it in, and then make it, we'll have to have it caught up eventually for planning board approval, but
Right.
we're gonna still try to get these last few in as much as possible.
Given the short amount of time the presentation will be, I don't think, the intention is
Yeah.
we're not gonna get to the level of something that's gonna trigger
Yeah,
bone
I'm
of
hoping
contention.
for like 8 minutes max, like I don't wanna be talking for longer than that. So,
I just don't think there's time, so.
yeah, I don't wanna, take that time either, there's other things happening after that are more important.
It was also a forcing event to try and get people to respond.
Yes.
You know, and some have, some haven't. And I, like, you know, the one that I thought was an issue wasn't, but the other one that I still like to hear from is the cultural committee, cultural council. The cemetery commission, you know, the commission on trusts, I mean, I don't think those are showstoppers, but the cultural commission, they should be responding, because there's a lot of stuff in there about that. that it impacts that business.
Do you think if when we approach them for the millionth time, if we put in like I don't know how you guys are writing the emails, but like a sense of urgency of being like, if you don't give us any feedback, we're gonna be going ahead with this.
I don't think you can threaten anybody, Sandra.
It's not threatening. It's not threatening. It's just like a sense of like giving them a sense of urgency.
Yeah, I have indicated that this will be approved in December, and this is your last chance.
See, there we go. Like that's
Put it
fair.
into an email, so this is your last opportunity to provide this feedback.
Because it's not a lie.
It was in August that people were invited to
Yeah.
give their feedback.
It's been a while.
Yeah, so it's like
I don't think you're.
And
I'm
I
just
didn't
saying.
expect everybody to respond. I mean, it would be really nice if.
I'm actually surprised that we got as much as we
I
got.
think
Yeah.
you're absolutely correct.
It's just
Emily.
the only thing I'm just worried about. I just don't want to hear people later on being like, "Well, nobody."
But that's there.
You
That's
will
there.
regardless.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a given.
Right,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. That's my thing. It's like as long as we have the receipts of
Right.
being like, "No, we
Right.
did."
Because that's on them at that point.
Right.
We've asked so many times and,
Yeah.
you know,
Eh,
can only do
that's
so
fair
much.
enough. Yeah.
And at this point, since we know which is like like the most important ones that we're missing, we can start, targeting, go into those meetings, like if they, whenever they have them, because it's also the problem is like, it's gonna get into a busy time of year. So, I can see when the next school committee meeting is.
next Wednesday,
Next Wednesday? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
7 o'clock.
Okay. On the calendar. So I can go to the school committee meeting. So for capital planning, what is their involvement separately from finance committee? Is it like a subcommittee? Is it different budgets? I'm not
The
sure.
capital planning projects.
Okay.
So that would be, so they kind of have their priority list of what they think is important in the town at this time.
So we'll need to know.
Some of them are
Where?
similar. I know that the turf and the field and is definitely on their capital plan, I believe.
He's not on the school committee anymore. He's the designated rep to the school committee, to the
Yeah.
capital planning, and he's now the chair. Because he has a perspective of having been on the finance committee as well as.
He had asked to stay the representative of
Yeah.
the school committee, even though he's not on the school committee, and they had passed that because of his longstanding connection there
Yeah.
when he moved to the capital planning.
Okay, so we'll reach out to him now that we have something. Where is the school committee meetings?
It could be town hall or it could be
Oh.
the middle high school project room.
Okay, I'll look at the agenda when it's
Yeah,
posted.
I'm trying to remember his last, I think we were in town hall last time, so I think it should be at the middle high school.
All right, so we have capital planning committee plan, school committee plan, planning board. Tim, has the planning board discussed fees? Are you waiting till we get the draft? I'm curious.
We did discuss them at one point, and then I believe there was supposed to be a follow-up at a meeting that I wasn't in attendance at. And I neglected to follow up or ask about it this past Monday's meeting. So I know we have comments, I'm just not sure why they haven't been submitted.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, if you could follow up on that, because I have a hard time getting in contact with Matt. And
Sure.
so if you could do that, would be great. And so for capital planning, Matt said that you might have their feedback already. So maybe Peter already has it and he was linked to us, which would be ideal.
I'll send Peter that.
Great. Thanks. All right. You guys are up. Long meeting.
So we have two things we'd like to talk to. I think one is kind of reviewing the feedback from and sort of seeing what that's done to change or not change the recommendations. I'd say the good news is for the most part, the changes are minor. There's one or two places where we don't need a certain recommendation because it's already being done and basically somebody's brought that to our collective attention. Then the other thing I'd like to talk about is, after that discussion, is with the recommendations we have, sort of reorganizing, reshuffling some of them so that it's not just a list of recommendations, but we're grouping like recommendations in the same groups. And I'll get to that after Tristan walks us through some of the review.
Yeah, so on the spreadsheet up on the screen, it's very zoomed out right now, but this just gives you a sense of the columns where we've had feedback to the different answers, and then we have the different committees on the left-hand side underneath each recommendation that they are relevant to provide feedback for. So all the feedback we've had so far is copied into here from the committees that we've heard back from. And then on this far right here in blue, you have our sort of digestion of it and proposed change or action to the feedback. So I'm gonna zoom in on this. Let's see, make it quite big. Okay, that's more legible. So just looking at our sort of response to it, we have on this left-hand side this question of how does the feedback impact the recommendation, and we essentially have 4 ways in which it would impact it. The first one is unchanged. That means that there isn't really anything that is going to transform the recommendation. The next one is noteworthy, which is something has been mentioned or brought up that might be useful, for instance, for the description that goes with the recommendation. Then there is impact minor, which means that there's something that's actually going to have somewhat of a significant change to the recommendation itself. And then impact major, which would be something like this needs to be completely recalled or removed. And I actually think we've only got one impact major really, and a couple impact minors, but mostly unchanged or noteworthy. So I can just maybe show examples of the impact minor and major. So I'm just filtering out all the feedback that is not under those 2 categories. But just before I show you that, so then here in this column here we have just our notes about what the sort of key takeaways are from the feedback, and then we have a column that provides a consensus on what we think is the change to the recommendation. And then we've had comments, I think mainly from Kim in this green column as well, which has been very helpful. So, so for instance, this Conservation Commission's feedback to the recommendation about encouraging new housing developments that broaden residential options. It was noted by them that this is probably going to require bylaw change, and also other actions like mandating access to trail access to expand wildlife connectivity. So that's something that in proposed action, proposed change recommendation, it's probably language in the description that's going to provide detail to that, and in this case also providing what we're calling a roadmap, so sort of what are the steps to be taken to achieve the recommendation.
So for that type of noting change, I don't know if we should change the recommendation wording, but I think in the implementation table,
Yeah.
that should be something noted of like, hey, to do this, you have to do that. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
Go ahead.
and also in the additional description to the recommendation, which will be
Yes.
context.
Cool.
Exactly. So the recommendations, we try to keep them fairly
Yeah.
short. Try.
Yeah.
And then after that, there's sometimes a little bit longer description of
Mhm.
what this means, what it would entail. So yeah, I think it'll show up there as well as in the implementation.
Cool.
Is this updated spreadsheet available for us to view on our own time, just so I can talk to the Conservation Commission about this?
I mean, yes, yeah.
Like,
sure.
well, like where? I'm sorry. Like, where can I access it? I guess is my
So-
question.
What we can do is to have a file and we can have it uploaded to the minutes, but so that we can share all of it, but it'll be an as-is version.
Mm-hmm.
So after the meeting, if you could, we can do like a read-only file and just kind of export it,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, our only fear is that someone looking through it, it's huge,
Change.
will inadvertently, accidentally, I've done it myself, will erase something.
Yeah, that's
change
fine. I
something.
just want like a copy, like a read-only copy, so
Yeah.
I can show it to
Yeah.
my commission.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's not do like a read-only link.
Are you
let's do
able
a copy.
To email it to us that
Mhm.
way, with the read-only?
Well, it would be an exported download. It would be a download of the file, and then you should be able to open it because it's Google Docs or whatever, Excel. Does that do that? Well, it doesn't have to be
Well,
read
it's-
only. It'll just be an offline version that people. So you'll just save it as a offline.
Could you just share it to us and put us as read-only,
Well,
individual?
That's what I was asking.
maybe it could if people put in their thoughts though that we haven't reviewed at the meeting. It would be a violation of the meeting law.
No, but they make it read-only, so we even want to mess up.
So they can't put.
Yeah, we won't put any, just.
can't.
You can't, yeah,
Yeah,
just so we can read it
so
on
like
our
in
own
Google
time.
Docs, if I hit share, I can add anybody and I can put
I put
provision.
in comments to that.
I see what you're saying.
I think we gave you edit.
Yeah, I have edit access, so the town comments and stuff, like I put stuff in there, and then if I'm sharing it with all of you
I see.
before we share it at a meeting,
No, you can just share it individually and put the person as a viewer, and then one person can do it. Individual permissions.
Could remove that.
yeah, but you'll view my opinions. You'll all, which is a violation of open meeting law.
I mean, there's also one other thing, which is I'm using this fairly frequently, and I filter based on committees.
Yeah.
So I wanna always be up to date with what,
I don't actually know if that's a problem for sharing with people with view underneath. I think that does create a little bit of complexity in terms of not being able to see every recommendation.
Can
Ted,
you
we
do
can
me a
get
favor?
you this information.
I was
in a
gonna
way
say,
that's
like,
useful
if you
for
Yeah.
want to just like screenshot this one piece and email it to me, that also
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing in here that's secret. It's
Yeah,
it's-
yeah.
it's just we're building it for.
Right, and I just want to go and update the commission so we know like what affects our commission and like how we affect the.
are those the
Master
only
plan.
But
three
this was
changes?
from the commission. That was feedback from the
I-
commission.
Yes, I understand. I just mean like where it affects, like it's a major impact
Oh,
to the master plan. So I was just hoping to go there with that information, just be like, hey, this is how we feed into
Oh, yeah, okay.
how Conservation Commission feeds into the master plan.
Yeah, okay, I got what you're saying, yeah. Okay. So I'm just curious, what was the bylaw before?
She just said I could take a picture of it.
Just take a
and I'm
picture
like,
of
"Ah."
It's also, yeah, it'll also be in,
Easier that way.
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
There's that iPhone again.
Or if you're on Zoom, you can take a screenshot while you're
Karen, you're talking about that first.
Yes, so the zoning, the bylaw, oh, okay, so
Thank
it's
you.
just right now,
Just
they
say-
don't have one.
Big,
I
What
learned
big,
from you.
big
I
Brady.
learned from you.
Doesn't allow
Actually should've too.
control over trail access.
Oh, okay, that's all I was curious, so. Okay. What
So-
are the other,
So I'm wondering, just in interest of time, I can sort of show other examples just to get everyone up to speed, but I don't know if there's anything here that's sort of major and it's
Oh, these are the minor ones.
these are
Or are
these are
these-
minor and major.
Together.
but-
Oh, okay.
The only, frankly, the only major one is we just need to remove it
This
because it's, the town has no control over it. It's a
What is
state.
it?
It's the.
I can't read that from
Uh,
here. Sorry.
So at one point, we had a recommendation of reducing the minimum lot size
Oh,
yeah.
for agricultural preservation, but that's a
We
state,
can't do
it's
anything
5 acres is a state, like,
Yeah.
there's no, we have no local means by
Right.
which to change it, so it's a non-starter. Then the other one, so for example, there was one that has to do with tax relief for senior citizens. There are existing state programs, and in fact, Lunenburg has
Their
its
A lot.
own quite a few. So I think that one gets changed to making people aware of it, revisiting it. Are the thresholds set at the right place for current economic standards? But you've got a lot of support for seniors in terms of debt relief already.
yeah, well, and this one came, I think, from the Council on Aging, so that's why I'd be very curious of like, because they're obviously aware of all of those projects, right? So something, or all those programs, so like there must be something that's not working that they're saying that there still isn't tax relief. So,
Thresholds.
Or I suspect it's the threshold.
It's the thresholds too low.
yeah,
I mean,
okay.
if you're kind of a middle-class retiree, you don't get tax relief. It's only if you're a poor retiree, you get tax relief.
And for some of them, you have to have lived in the town for 15 years.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
for others, it's 1 or 2 years. So there are different standards, town set standards for different programs.
Yeah.
We've had, I think, 2 major votes at town meeting on tax relief for seniors. But the bottom line is that the threshold is what people can't get past.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, we
And
probably.
keeping up with the
add that in
economy as well.
comments. Right, yeah, inflation and all that, yeah. Are there any other impact major besides that, agricultural preservation?
I think that is the only one. So just scrolling up, these are all the minor and major impacts. So I think there's about a dozen or so minor impacts.
Yeah.
And they usually have, the change is really sort of a nuance in the language of the recommendation. It's not an outright, this is a
That-
bad
I do.
idea, it's
Yeah.
all right, add this to the language and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I
Which
think-
is good, it means we're sort of on the right track.
Mhm. Yeah, I think what would be good is, right, if there's some version that you can export that I can share that everyone just has their own individual file, like the next couple of days,
Yeah.
so.
That's easy enough to do.
Sweet.
It's an unwieldy, if
It's a lot of information.
we
but-
tried to print these to fit on a page and
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
it's a lot, but it's been very useful
For
to
the,
have it all in one place.
for the 5 acres thing for designating it as, what was it, agricultural land or
Agricultural
preservation, does it have to be contiguous? Like it all has to be like one lot of land, or can we do like a patchwork of like and designate?
No, I think it has to be like, you have to have at least 5 acres, plus maybe like one of the acres like that your house is on doesn't count, like there's a lot of specifics.
Okay.
But you can find that online, it's listed, I don't know it off the top of my head, but I believe that there's like a lot of specifics about it, because your space for your house doesn't count towards
Mhm.
the 5 acres, so, yeah.
I also wanted to bring up something. So the Conservation Commission went to this conference like 2 weeks ago for the Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissions, and I went into this seminar for open space residential design, which I thought is pertinent to our master plan. And instead of having giving like each single family residence like a large lot of land, you encourage developers to kind of push those houses a little bit closer together and leave more land designated for open space, and you can give like benefits to like the developer, like you can let them put like one or two more units on it, and the open space can be used for like preservation or just like an open space for people to congregate on. And the Conservation Commission, I don't think has actual like jurisdiction over any of that, so I just kind of wanted to put it out there and see if we can get that information into a committee that it is pertinent to.
It's one of the many options that we've discussed with members of the planning board, for example, about preserving the open sort of space that is the reason why people love to live here,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, while also kind of allowing for more houses, perhaps more affordable because they're smaller or on smaller lots.
And like multifamily
Yeah.
houses, like different types of housing, like we were talking about.
The way to do it is to either designate an area that's only that, but I think that would be a harder sell. One of the ways to do it would be to say if there's an overlay in a particular part of town that will allows for that, and you're therefore not requiring it, but you're incentivizing that as a possibility for developers. Oh, I can build 6 houses instead of 4 on 2 acres, for example,
Mhm.
right? And then as long as the land around it remains sort of jointly owned, or there are several mechanisms by which it's kept open, or so. It seems to me that it's an option. We want to make sure it remains an option. I don't know that the plan is suggesting one route forward, but it's one of the ways that you could consider sort of land development in the future.
This is why we gotta get the planning board's feedback.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, and doing those types of things would be part of the implementation committee as well. It's like, this is one way that we could achieve this goal, but then we'd have to work with the specific committees of the planning board and everyone to like get them to, you know, discuss it and figure out if that's the right option.
Yeah, they're the ones who are setting the stage for someone, like a developer comes in and says, you know, I wanna build 25 houses over here.
Yeah, so it'd be
That's
planning
where it
board
starts with
based on
them.
their jurisdiction.
That's the reason why we
Okay.
definitely need their input.
And they're the ones who, because they meet and deal with issues all the time, they know what the developers are
Looking for.
contemplating
Right.
and what people will accept. And so there's, you know, definitely useful feedback to have.
No, in their defense, you know, they've had a lot of state-imposed housing changes that they've had to legislate, create different legislation for Lunenburg to deal with, and that's come at the wrong time for us getting our feedback.
In addition to just the regular
Crush of business.
stuff.
Yeah, right. But the state has really
It's
levied
it's
some
a lot.
heavy,
Yeah,
you know,
the
heavy work for them.
MBTA communities
Yeah,
is a
huge.
heavy lift. So.
Yeah. Mhm. That's at town meeting, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was, they've scrambled to get it there,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah.
So that's sort of an overview. We realized that we've sort of gone through this and we started to change some of the language, started to think about things, but haven't had a chance to talk to this group about that. And we definitely want to share it in more detail. I don't think it makes a lot of sense for us to go through all 79 recommendations and do that. But the good news is it's really only a handful of things that are sort of impacted in a serious way or any minor way even. I think we're moving forward in a way that comports with what most of the committee's feedback has been, with the caveat that we're still waiting on some pretty significant feedback.
were there anyone in like particular that anybody wanted to look closer at? We're here, we will have the file, but sent out in a few days, but if we wanted to look at any specifically now.
No, I can wait.
Okay. On this here, this is Mass MA plan areas with different LU and H.
Oh, yes.
What are those?
So
I don't know if it's on
that's that's actually a good segue to the next thing. Do we have this in a way that we can show it on the screen, or is that not even worth trying to
We can, yeah. If, yeah.
do? It's a Google Doc, right?
Well, time, so also the bylaw review committee is actively collecting feedback right now. I think at the end of December is when they wanted something by. I have to look, they sent out an email. You have to know off the top of your head.
Say that again.
Bylaw review committee, when they're waiting to hear back stuff. The date that they wanted things back by.
I think it was the 15th of December.
I didn't even know we had one of those. Did they just form?
Yeah, so on the 5 and 10 years, they formed the bylaw review committee. So they have, the select board appointed it back in October-ish.
Okay.
And they're beginning now, and they're beginning their task of review and revision of bylaws. So, December 1st.
Oh, December 1st.
Yeah, so there's bylaw review at lunenburgma.gov. And that's where they're getting feedback. So we have a lot of suggestions for bylaw changes here. So once we get these all kind of combined, I might try to send it over in bulk and say, here, these are the things that we might want to review. But I'm not sure if they're going to review with the committees or the logistics. But we could have stuff already ready that could help support their committee. So.
Good. Yeah, because they're a huge piece. And so like, well, it's just one of the things that I just know people complain about, especially businesses, is the bylaws.
Yeah.
So that's just exciting. I didn't realize that they come together every 5 years like Voltron.
It's
simple.
Then what they do is they'll propose at a town meeting the changes and folks can vote on it. So.
Okay.
So I think we need this is sort of the bridge that gets us to the next spreadsheet, and I'll go through this hopefully quickly. You're not expected to read this, this is our office. We printed all the recommendations, put them on the wall. Each one of those, each two columns is a goal, right, of the 8 goals, and started to reorganize, shuffle things around to see if they made more sense and what, even within the columns, what group, how to group them. So with that in mind, this is sort of what we came up with. So for example, in the original recommendations, they're just listed. There's no hierarchy, there's no, right? We could be talking about something, policy, and the next one is physical, and the next one is something else completely. So we're sort if part of the plan is really to tell the story in a way that's clear and coherent, how do we group these like things together so we can start to tell that story? So with respect to the range of housing options, the first goal, right? We started to move things around a little, and we think there are 3 that are sort of on this very high level, like policy, sort of in planning, study the impacts of inclusionary zoning on development feasibility, identify public land that could be used to support housing goals, and encourage development within areas of least amount of impact to infrastructure and open space. One of those is a must-have, the other 2 are less important, but nonetheless, they're all, those kind of make sense as a grouping. They're each separate recommendations, but they kind of make sense as a grouping. B is its own thing. It's sort of one level down in hierarchy, and it's talking specifically about housing developments. We, at one point, had these as 2 different goals, there was sort of encouraging new housing developments to broaden the available options, and then sort of plan appropriately to preserve open space, public trail access, and wildlife connectivity. We lumped it all into one, I think sometime in July. The other half of that exists in another goal, and sort of looking at it all together, realized maybe it belongs in that other goal. We can reference it in this one, but it's already in group 4, 4.1, I think it is. So we can get to that if you want to talk specifically, but I just sort of want to give you an examples. And then the third grouping is sort of policy level things. Establishing an affordable housing trust, allow people to have a temporary dwelling on a unit while constructing a home, and then sort of advertise state first-time home buyers. Those are things that are sort of governmental policy, have little money investment, but they're sort of, kind of related. The group D has to do with senior citizens largely, and sort of things to do to help alleviate some of the burdens of having a home when your income is limited. And then the fourth group is sort of sitting on its own, is encouraging house developments that preserves land for open space.
So they're all independent from each other. It's not like A has to happen before B.
No,
Okay.
they're just sort of thematically grouped.
Okay.
So at first we had, 1.1 through 1.12 in no particular order. And we said, well, let's try to put them in an order. I don't know if this matters to any of you, but
This is so much, watch it, so much more rational.
it just feels like if this is about telling a story, now that we have the recommendations and they're more or less, we have consensus that these are the right ones, how do we tell that story thematically? And then we did similarly with goal 2, which is protecting farmland and supporting farmers. This sort of was easy categorized into 2 categories. One is farmland and things to do to protect farmland, and one was to support farmers. So it seemed pretty easy, 2 categories, and then we're recommending removing the one on the bottom because it's really out of our purview.
Good storytelling.
Will these category themes be like labeled?
Yeah, and I anticipate a headline and maybe a short paragraph, 50 to 100 words about why they're together, how they make sense, and then you go into each one separately. Encouraging small business development within existing commercial areas. Oh, I should also say, if you can see, we made them very light. You see the stars? Right? Those were prioritized at the public meeting we had. Yeah, in October. So it's just there now for us to keep in mind as we move forward, but ultimately that's not going to. So this was sort of 4 groupings. The first, again, was sort of all about making it easier to open a business in Lunenburg. So looking at the review and modify existing zoning barriers to investment, audit and alter if necessary existing bylaws and processes to focus commercial development in specific areas. Develop permitting guide to help people. I know there is one that exists, but it could use some, yes. And then audit and alter existing bylaws and processes for opening up a business in Lunenburg. So those are sort of all together, and they all kind of have to do with making the town, and you're not alone, this is a common complaint in small town, for businesses in small towns, it's because it's a capacity question.
Thank you.
Really, bless you. It's a capacity question, and like, who do I talk to? I don't know who to talk to, and you want to help them, but so if these things are sort of addressed and identified as priorities, it hopefully becomes easier. And then the second grouping is sort of using specifically about town center, the kind of the village, and making the village kind of a center for small businesses. It has to do with sort of encouraging small business in the town center, increasing programming and events in the town center, and then that last one is making the town center more walkable. It's something everybody wants to do, we just don't know if it belongs here. Like because it's covered in other places as well, so we sort of have a question mark as to, do we need to reference it here, or do we just allude to the fact that it exists elsewhere?
Yeah, it does exist in 8.
In 8,
Yeah, it says develop a town center plan that encourages small businesses, walkability, and communal gathering spaces. So, I mean, I think it's covered enough there, because it's more related to that than small businesses. I know where it's coming from for businesses in the town center, but it is covered there, so I.
We agree, we just wanted to kind of, before going and doing it on our own, wanted to flag it and make sure we were in the same path. And then, you know, supporting existing businesses in commercial areas is sort of its own thing. And then the last one has to do with kind of marketing and sort of advertising.
So some of the feedback specifically for that one, right, like provide marketing opportunities for small business. So that one, the LBA, the Lunenburg Business Association, they're kind of tasked with doing that. And I'm not sure, and based off the town manager's feedback of like, should we be doing this? You know, so I think, I don't know, that one might be a candidate also for removal, or, you know, or indicating like this is something that would be does and not like a town function. But if it's something that we can't do or change, then maybe we just shouldn't include it in the plan. And then same for like advertised spaces available. Maybe that one will be a little different, but there was another one. It was like advertise something else.
Funding opportunities, grant opportunities.
No, it was like advertise town events, but it was like only town sponsored events, not like events from anybody. Because that also was some feedback from the town manager. Like we don't want to be like having to advertise like, or thinking of like advertising it for businesses, because then it's like you have to advertise for everybody, like regardless, you know. So it would be for like from a legal standpoint better to just limit that to town only.
But let me offer a counter. You know, we had a business event at TC Passios this past spring, and we let there be commerce, you know, with businesses coming there and setting up and telling people that they're in business. And I think that we'll see more of that. And that little bullet right there, that's marketing. And that little bullet there gives the town kind of a leeway, you know, or a stake in the ground to say, yeah, we don't mind using town property for that type of activity. So I think that, you know, while the town doesn't, you know, blatantly come out and say, you know, go to Bad Larry's, you know, it does say, you know, we encourage the Lunenburg Business Association, you know, to have a connection to us. And that gives that bullet there, provide marketing opportunities, covers that relationship between the town government and small business. So I don't think you'd want to eliminate it. You know, we don't necessarily want to advertise for these businesses, but we want to set the stage for them to engage in marketing within the town government structure.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, because I mean, the LBA is the ones that are leading all of that,
Yeah.
but where, I mean, the town like works with them to allow them to be on like town property.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a good connection. So I don't know if like, if under that like recommendation, if there's gonna be more details specifically to the LBA support, you know, because I don't know if we should say like provide marketing opportunities for small business using the LBA. I mean, that gets specific, because what if it's not the LBA in the future? So yeah, I think I'm okay with that context, keeping that, but noting that it's through the like an LBA association.
It could just be like encourage marketing as opposed to like providing.
Yeah, or
Well, we actually did.
Support-
Facilitate
I
it.
mean, the town did that with the LBA. We
Yeah.
provided them with a marketing opportunity by using that space around TC Passios.
Well, then that's provide market opportunities for the LBA, like activities, I guess, like. But yeah, I think if we put, instead of provide, because to me, I guess that's the whole point of, like, if the town isn't providing, like, being the owner, that action item owner for that, it's more like we're supporting marketing opportunities for small businesses.
Encouraging, supporting,
Support.
facilitating.
Support
Yeah.
marketing opportunities.
Well, facilitating, that's a good word.
Yeah.
Because that
Well, no,
that
that's
implies,
too much leading for me.
but I think that implies a relationship, and that's what Tony was talking about.
Well, supporting,
I don't have a problem changing language, just
Yeah.
support.
Yeah, I think I would be okay with it if it wasn't provide,
But taking it out is making, I think
Yeah.
taking it out is
compromise.
it's not, if we take it out, we're not recognizing what the town does with small businesses already.
That's fair.
And, an advertising space is available for sale or lease. I think that you can look at that as, not the town's primary responsibility, but the town has 2 pieces of property. One which for sure should be advertised, for sale, 925 Mass Avenue. And there might be more coming down the pipe.
Yeah, but I think that's specific, so this is spaces, it doesn't say like
Yeah.
town-owned spaces.
It wasn't specific to town-owned property. And again, I understand the reservations that were articulated, and I don't have a strong feeling about this.
Let's take one out.
It-
Let's
it-
take the advertising space.
It could
Yeah.
be, that it's,
And strategically, we've responded to the concerns. How's that sound?
I mean, if there is a space out there, others could say this better than I could, that you would know where to go to lease an office or buy a property. And I suspect there's more than one, right, out there.
Yeah.
I think again, this is with LBA though, because like they could advertise spaces available for businesses to purchase or lease. So maybe it's again like support, or we could lump them together into one where we're supporting marketing, we're supporting small businesses.
How about establish a relationship with the Lunenburg Business Association to cover those 2 bullets? Because that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds great. That makes sense.
Establish and maintain a relationship with the Lunenburg Business Association.
Yeah, to support small businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So again, with the natural, build upon existing efforts to improve natural open spaces and recreational opportunities. Again, this is sort of 4 groups. The first is sort of ensure that new developments provide access to adjacent conservation lands and increase wildlife connectivity. We're suggesting changing the word provide to just increase rather than small point. The second has to do with trails and parking by those trails, and whether it's walking trails, bike trails, trails that connect across Lunenburg, trails that connect trails in Lunenburg to other trails, extending trails, and it's generally a good thing recreationally and ecologically. It's a smart move when possible. The third is specific to water shore areas in town. One is to provide parking and improve pedestrian access to town beach, and the other is provide public access to Lake Shirley, which already exists sort of, but it's
It's only to Lunenburg residents.
yeah. Which, if that's how the town wants to maintain it, that's fine. It is somewhat limited in scope, even as currently written. And then finally, it has to do with parks and playgrounds. the fifth category had to do with community gathering spaces, so these aren't open spaces or rec spaces, but these are plazas, town greens, etc. And I think, clearly there has something to do with establishing kind of an area somewhere in the town center that is Lunenburg's version of a town green. And that is sort of category A. And there are a couple of different options there, and we can talk through. The two of those were identified as priorities. The second has to do with gardening and school events and community gardens and whatnot. And the third one has to do with events, so programming events and sort of advertising the town-sponsored events. One that we think is removable, because it's already been solved for, is this one issue for the 350th anniversary and providing a kind of large space. Right, this was a concern that we heard many times during the community place for literally thousands of people to show up to celebrate the 350th anniversary of the town, and from what we understand, that's been arranged on a private property. So that doesn't need to go into the town's master plan. So it's been overtaken by events.
Is it you, Tony, that's on that, or?
That was Deb Lincoln behind that one.
Yeah.
Oh, no, for the members of this subcommittee.
Yes, I'm on, but that's what was driving that. Deb Lincoln said we need to have a place.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And,
Okay.
and, because none of the, like, when they had the 250th, they used what's now currently the new high school location. Can't do that. So, it has been overcome by events.
So we don't need to include it because hopefully it's an already happened thing. Then with respect to municipal buildings and properties, inventory and create a long-term plan for all town-owned buildings. We sort of identified here some of the priorities. I think TC Pat, like you can see which ones in the public meeting last month were given priority. TC Passios maybe is a little not quite as high as some of the others. And then the other was sort of assess viability of public purchase of town center property. And then two separate things, evaluate all town administrative functions to see if they can go online and how easily they can go online. And I think that will be increasingly the way we do our town municipal business in the future. It already is, frankly. And then the final one is sort of look at sort of ways to develop uniform town signage, wayfinding, and in a kind of as much possible non-light polluting manner, but sort of start with municipal buildings and then sort of move on. So it's a wayfinding and signage recommendation that is pretty standard in master plans, and just generally a good thing to have, and frankly, low-hanging fruit when compared to some of the larger things you have to pay for. With respect to schools, we have these four categories. One is sort of overarching, a 5-year strategic forecasting that sort of gets renewed. The second one has to do with school facilities. Turkey Hill was definitely identified as one. Do we need to kind of, if we are going to call it out here as a municipal priority, do we need to repeat it here? And that's just
Yes.
an open question.
Yes.
You wanted to include it?
Yes.
Maybe where it says upgrade school facilities to meet accessibility standards and put in there. in
Like,
parentheses,
i.e. Turkey Hill, yeah, that would be fine. I think
Okay.
it's worth repeating.
Okay.
Right, because the other one, it's like, right,
It's
these
more-
are the buildings, but then this one is like specifically called
Right,
out,
yeah.
yeah, so, yeah.
And that is the number, I think that is the number one issue, Turkey Hill.
Seems to be. And then C is sort of a standalone. It has to do with looking at ways to fund and develop a kind of universally accessible playground for all ages. And then group E is, that's interesting, I did E before D.
It's a late night.
It has to do with advancements in specific kinds of schooling opportunities, STEAM, trade, after-school research, whatnot. So.
And like, if you took that one page and brought that to the school committee, that would probably be a quick and easy way to say, and then what's missing here? So that should be the topic.
I just can't unless it's on the agenda.
I'll make sure.
I can't just
I will
bring it.
make sure it's on.
It's
the
not
agenda.
allowed.
I'm gonna text them right now.
And then the last one has to do with gardening programs and sort of relationship between
I also don't have that page. So
growing and
I'm not sure how I'm gonna bring it anywhere.
I just took a screenshot.
we can also, we'll
Yeah,
share
That's
this.
what I said. Don't leave that yet. Hold on.
Because I can't really, that's not really very visible. Hold on. Oh yeah, no.
All right, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
You got
Yeah.
one?
I got it.
That is
I'm
cool.
gonna text this down.
I'm not getting
text
a
it
good
to
one
them
at
right
all.
now.
Okay, great. You do that. Mine's not, it's all blurry.
And then the,
Right?
the last category had to do with sort of safe and resilient infrastructure, and all three of those words are very broad. This is a sort of catch-all thing, but I think there's actually some pretty good content in here. The first has to do with sort of kind of resiliency strategies, ensuring that the sort of the hazard mitigation plan is up to date and has a roadmap of how to deal with sort of increasing what's the word? Storm events, right? I mean, which is sort of statistically a real thing. Then the other one sort of is incorporate resiliency strategies for conservation land to protect from natural disasters and whatnot. Second category is establish a town fund dedicated to stormwater infrastructure and maintenance.
Now, would that truly be establish a fund? Because that is one of the issues they're working through with the Stormwater Task Force, as opposed to establish town funding dedicated to? Because that's one of the decisions before the town, is to adopt a stormwater utility or fund it through traditional taxing. So unless, because that kind of, implies that this master plan would say, oh yeah, make the fund.
Do it this way.
Yeah, as opposed to, you guys need to address this issue somehow.
So what if you said identify a fund dedicated to stormwater infrastructure and maintenance? That's kind of open-ended.
Or funding.
Yeah, funding, or just,
Yeah.
or dealing, even get away from money, dealing with stormwater infrastructure and maintenance,
So it's
a plan.
So we haven't made a final decision
Right.
on that. So this would say, you gotta have a
You gotta-
conversation about getting that.
yeah,
that
do
final
something.
decision.
You could say managing.
Yeah. So rather than a ton fund, because that has a specific
Yeah.
meaning associated with it.
Right.
So
I mean, we'll probably have made the decision, but,
Yeah.
by then, but,
But this
I think
would reinforce that.
Thank you
Yeah.
for bringing this up, because some of these recommendations, most of them frankly came from different
yeah.
people
Well,
in
there's-
town. Some of them we added because we think it's good practice. This one was not one we added, so this was language that came,
From the,
and this is the first time we're hearing that
Yeah.
there's room for discussion.
Yeah, but it's kind of one of those things that just kind of gets caught up in the world of government, and it just sort of happens, and people aren't exactly sure how it happened.
So we can change the language of that to still address the issues of,
Right, clearly, yes, that's for sure.
And then the group C has to do with sort of a walkability, particularly in the town center, and this is where we think, if it's addressed here, then it doesn't need to be addressed. Making a walkable town center probably supersedes the reference to it in the business goal?
I had a conversation with Bill Bernard about sidewalks. He's actually working on a plan to build sidewalks on Chestnut and Highland. And I think that's to kind of link Marshall Park to the schools and Marshall Park to the town. And, you know, we had a conversation about right-of-way, and fortunately, right-of-way will not be, I don't think will be, based on what he had told me, right-of-way we won't need to go to a property owner and say, can you sell us 5 feet of your yard so we can put a sidewalk? Most of the town roads have right-of-ways that extend well beyond the edge of pavement, 8 feet beyond the edge of pavement. But he doesn't know for a fact that that's true everywhere. The town has responsibility for maintaining the sidewalks on Mass Avenue, which is the only state road in the town. I thought 13 was a state road, it's not, it's only 2A. So, you know, now, building sidewalks, even if you own the property, is still expensive, because he said that the estimated cost for the Highland, Chestnut to Highland is $1 million. It's a lot of money. But that just drives that conversation to where I think people want it to be.
I mean, there was a good push for a significant portion of the town center to be sidewalk.
Yeah, I know.
Was it 5, 6 years ago?
Right.
And it feels like this is the last piece of that, especially if Marshall Park is going to
Get the ball.
be developed.
Yeah.
What were you saying about Mass Ave sidewalks? Sorry, I missed it.
What, Mass Avenue, the town has a responsibility to maintain the sidewalks on Mass Avenue.
Even though it's state owned.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah.
can the town make sidewalks on Mass Ave?
With the state's permission.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that's where it was. We'd have to get permission from MassDOT.
Yeah, but the right of way is probably there. We wouldn't have to buy property, you just have to deal with the physical construction.
Yeah, and then also though the water main is right in that area where we would put a sidewalk if it were to go down Mass Ave. So anytime a water repair would have to happen, we'd have to tear out the sidewalk. So,
Well,
yeah, I know, it's just what comes to mind.
Just the last 2 points here. One, the D deals with bike infrastructure in 2 different ways. Connecting high-density housing areas to the town center, and the other one is bike infrastructure connections to surrounding areas. Neither of those are must-haves, but they're still in the plan unless we're told otherwise. And then the final category is sort of review and update bylaws as necessary on a kind of continual sort of 5-year basis. And then continue to be a green community and good city. So, sort of more kind of maintenance of that have to do with this goal in particular. So that's what we're thinking. This was sort of our first pass at this. I think this discussion has been helpful. We can share this with you. Inevitably we'll get nuanced again as we start to flesh this out, but this feels like it makes sense in terms of groups, buckets of like things, or what this sheet does, and it's 8:16, so I'm not sure how much more life you have in you tonight. But so we can just share this as well if that's useful. Do you wanna, how many of these do we have? Does everyone have one?
I think there's one copy here.
But
So here, this is one group.
yeah,
Okay, so we don't have it digitally, we do have it digitally. So why don't you pass these two out?
okay. You're very exciting.
I'm sure. I'm gonna zoom in.
I can take
Look at how tiny.
I'll take 2 pictures.
And we can share this with you as well. What this is
Okay.
the first pass at the least exciting and most important part of the master plan, which is the implementation part, right?
That's
Wait.
perfect.
It is exciting if
Okay.
you are a
Wait. Yeah, okay.
spreadsheet nerd, which some plans are, it's less exciting for the rest of the world. But I think it's important for this group to at least understand what you're looking at. So on the leftmost column, that's everything that's a 1 is one of those goals, yeah? And then the second leftmost column is the former number of that goal, just in the kind of rearranged order that we were proposing. That column's eventually going to disappear because no one's going to care about that after that's a way for us to track it back.
Just make sure you lose something.
Yeah, exactly. So what really matters is the recommendation itself, and then the sort of columns that come after that. So the first one is sort of leading and supporting entities. The leading entity being the top one, and then the kind of the different bodies in town that relate to that goal. Then the time frame, short, medium, long, budget, low, medium, high. Then column G is the state mandated plan areas, and there are 8 plan areas: land use, housing, economic development, transportation, open space, recreational space, public facilities, economic development I talked about, transport I also mentioned, open space, yeah. I think that's it. And public facilities.
Does our plan include all of the Massachusetts plan areas?
It does, absolutely. And some plans are organized just land use. Chapter, these are the recommendations that have to do with land use. These are the ones that have to do with housing. There are some that fit neatly into one category, but frankly, some of them cross boundaries. So when we started to think about this, we thought it was more useful to set these by the goals that this community has established, and then just tell the state, here they are. They're here in land use, and this one is. And frankly, they don't
like, if we miss one of the land use or one of the plan areas, they wouldn't come back and say the plan's incomplete.
And they don't care. They mandate that you do this, and they have a way in which you do it to make sure that everyone's doing it. But arranging it like this this is not something novel. There are other communities that have done the same thing. And frankly, we think it makes a lot more sense for you to do it this way.
What's CHR?
Is that one of the...
Yeah.
Community housing resources?
Historic. Cultural historic resources.
Okay, here we go.
There you go.
That's close.
And that was the one yeah. And so that's there, just to be there. That will end up being also on the recommendations themselves. There'll be a little LU, OS, and whatnot. Then the next column over is funding resources. And then the column after that is required resources, which are sort of, is it staff time? Will we need volunteers? Will you have to hire a consultant? Those sort of things. And then that final column is the frequency of the effort. So, is it a one-off? Is it something that kind of comes, that is persistent? Is it cyclical? And I think we came up with occasional. Yeah. as the fourth category. So this is, at the end of the document, there will be many sheets of this in a much more legible fashion than what you're seeing here, that just kind of run through each recommendation, because it's a...
And at this location, will it also have the prerequisites or things that need to be done in order to get these, or is that somewhere else?
It will be here. We had a long talk about this last week. We can include that column. I'm not convinced we need to. Because some of them, because I guess for me, maybe it's a different word. Because it's not like you have to do this, in some of them they're phased, right? So it's a prerequisite by,
Yeah.
you've got to change the bylaw before you,
Right, some
do
will
the
have
thing.
this, has to do that,
Yeah.
not all of them will, but maybe like it's more like a, if we know to do this, we need to change this bylaw.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of what I'm like adjusting towards for those other ones.
so I could see sort of, you know, a column that includes that and says bylaw must be changed, right? But it wouldn't be it would be a
Yeah.
pretty sparse column.
Right, it would just be like as we know it, because I just don't want the like information that we collected of like, hey, in order to do this, like this is the feedback we've gotten of like, this is what we need to do that. It would just be so easy to be like, all right, great, now as we do the implementation committee, like, we have to change that bylaw, like, we know that, you know, so, yeah, for the things that we know.
It's still there, we just sort of hit it,
Oh, cool.
because it's in one of these hidden columns.
Okay, yeah, we can take a look at that another time. Yeah. No, I think this is great. I like the funding sources, the required resources. Yeah, I think it would be great. And then once we have this like an electronic format in like the actual master plan, I don't know if there's a way that we could, like if there's like, for the senior circuit breaker tax credit, like if there's a link like that, we could just have it be like a hyperlink. That way, it's just like one click and you can find whatever that is versus a bunch of Google searches.
The problem with that is you've got to maintain the hell out of it.
Or if the link changes, but I guess.
It would be, I mean, I think that if you say there's something like this, it's a conversation initiator, you know, it's like, oh, I should go look for that. But if you put the hyperlink in there, someone's gonna have to maintain this every single day of the week.
And you're not in control of a lot of those
At least
hyperlinks.
it's there at some point. Yeah.
My concern is if I'm linking to a state program,
It could go away.
if it goes
Yeah,
away,
right.
I don't know, I mean, I guess linking it is,
I mean, it might go away, but at least like we had it, and if it's not there, it's not there, but it was there if we needed it, if it was there. If that made sense.
Like we were trying.
Yeah,
We were
like,
trying to provide.
like if it was
resources.
still there, it would have been super useful.
Yeah.
I don't think we overruled about it, but I don't think it's something we have to like necessarily decide right now. It's just I like to make things easy.
I think the one thing we have to remember is that this plan isn't gonna be executed by the master plan steering committee, nor the implementation committee. This plan is gonna get implemented by the various boards, commissions, and committees that need to look at this when they conduct their business. And they will know where to go look for this stuff. And if we put a link in there, then I think the assumption is that we know where it is. In fact, one of the things I was gonna ask you is, are you certain that you've identified all the funding sources?
so like comprehensively,
Yeah,
I very much doubt it.
right. And that's the reason why, I think,
I mean,
Is it possible?
I don't know what I don't
And the
know.
board had to
Right.
look into it at the time. That's just
yes, I mean, that's the
Okay.
reason why, I think that
Yeah.
what we need to do is, I don't wanna do all the work for the boards, commissions, and committees, you know? What we're trying to do is, we're trying to set a document before them that initiates discussion about what we think the town wants to do. So,
Yeah, okay, that's fair then.
In fact, I feel more comfortable if it was labeled potential funding sources or
Oh, sure,
possible
yeah, I think
funding
that's
sources.
nice as well, yeah. Current possible funding sources.
I'd love to see that you have mentioned some CPA stuff in here, though, because, you know, the town has been wrestling with whether there should be, you know, a CPA tax, and, which is what you gotta have in order to get the CPA funding. But this will then notify the boards, commissions, and committees that are looking at this, that, oh, well, maybe we should look at that, you know? And then make a decision whether to bring something like that back to the town for a vote.
So we'll also
It is a game changer for towns that have done
Yeah, I know. but it's a progressive thought. You gotta get past that. I gotta pay more taxes.
Mm.
Yes. So we'll also receive a copy of this.
Yeah.
Thank you. Cool. So, yeah, once we receive that, you know, we'll have another meeting, December 10th, I think, or, yeah, December 10th. Well, after this will be our next meeting, because we have Thanksgiving, around our next meeting, so. If you have any comments or anything, bring it to that meeting, for any of the documents that we've shared, that we will be sharing.
So I know I won't be able to attend the December 10th meeting. If I have comments or questions or anything like that, who can I send it to? Can I send it in with a member here, or can I email it to you, or?
You can email it to me.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
yeah. And then we can discuss it. If it's something that needs to go to Robbie, I can also forward it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at some point, going back to Sandra's comment about telling people there's a deadline, we have to establish our deadline for when we're gonna say no more comments.
Mm.
Yeah, I know we were aiming to have a report ready for the planning board. Is that still feasible for you guys?
Assuming things get locked down,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
yes, I mean, that, to be honest, that's a sort of week to 10 days of steady work, but I'm reluctant to do it until we're,
Yeah, for sure.
you know,
Yeah,
but
We need to decide when are we gonna say no more changes?
yeah. Well, it's like, if we got it like December, last week of December, like, the planning board's not gonna look at it, so why rush, I guess, if we have like a couple weeks in January? But I also like don't wanna extend it for unnecessary, like, if it's done in December, like, we can be done and just send it to the planning board for whatever their next, meeting is in January.
Well, one issue here is that they wanna move on.
They've been paid, but they've been off the payroll
Yeah.
for,
Well, but I think
Yeah.
at some point, they wanna move on.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know Rami and Tristan like us, but we need to put
Yeah.
a stake in the ground and
Yes.
say, we're done.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing sharpens the collective minds like a deadline. So
Yes.
if we all, whatever that is, and we'll all kind of work accordingly.
2 years from now.
Yeah.
Well, then,
So,
Do you like us that much?
so I guess to say, so the only other meeting we'll have until January because of the holidays is December 10th. If we were to say December 10th is the date that's our deadline, and like, you're gonna come December 10th with the report, are we comfortable with that? We wouldn't be meeting again until, the next time we meet, we would have this report. I still feel like there's some things that we need to get from people. We all need to review this. We need to get that last thing. So I think like we have one more meeting to finalize.
Yeah, I would say that that I wouldn't expect them to bring a report to us on December 10th. But what I would say is, December 10th, we tell them our last comments.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
yeah.
Otherwise, we're just gonna keep
Yeah.
like
going
it's-
and
right.
changing, and we're never gonna be satisfied
Yeah.
with anything.
Now we can say to people who are dragging their feet like the planning board, we need to say to them, our last comment to the contractor is gonna be December 10th. We really need your input.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So,
I'm okay with that. Everyone else,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
all right, sweet.
That's the sense of urgency you were talking about.
Hey,
Yeah.
Not a threat.
Yeah.
Not a threat.
But we wanna have a final conversation with him, so he can prepare a document that's, draft final.
yeah.
So December 10th, you'll get everything that you need to then draft that, and then whenever it's done for you, I guess you send it to us, and then we present it on the agenda to the planning board.
It
That's
sounds,
kind of how it's.
Are we
like
able
it
to get it
now.
ahead of time as well?
yeah.
Us?
Oh, well, yes, I think we.
Or whenever you get it, can we get it so that we're not looking at it on December 10th?
We're not,
Or-
gonna-
or
we're not looking
the-
at a
right.
draft final December 10th. We're
Or
gonna have our
whenever
final
we-
conversation
yeah.
with them on December
Yeah.
10th.
Right, so December 10th, right, we'd have final conversation, they would draft the report, Robbie would have the report ready. What we would need to do is then we would have to, I don't know, would we have
Yeah.
to meet to receive and review the report, or can we just get the report and bring it to the like, could I share it with everybody before it goes to the planning board, like, I don't.
Well, we
I don't
decided that we
know.
weren't making any more comments after December 10th, so I think you
So
could do
you
that.
can just share it. 'cause
You
we
should
can't
share
make-
it
we
to
can't
us,
change
we
anyway.
can't comment, we can't respond, you
Yeah.
share it with us so we can at least see it
Right.
before presenting it to the planning board.
Yeah, so the only thing that gets changed in a draft final would be a typo, a
Yeah.
misstatement, you know, that type of, but no no fundamental, like, we don't turn something into a major impact.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
And then how long, if we have our final conversation with you for comments on December 10th, when do you have the draft final back?
I mean, that's a good question, because we're getting into that time of year.
And it isn't gonna be
Nobody
over
does
holidays.
much.
Yeah, there's like nothing worse than getting something the 10th of December.
Yeah.
I mean, there's.
I don't think you're supposed to say that.
Well, I mean, we shut the office for
Yeah.
the last 2 weeks of
Okay.
Yeah,
the year,
that's
so
fair.
that's just,
Yeah.
We
So
should
after
have-
that, it's your deadline.
yeah. And I think realistically, when are you back from the UK?
The 12th of January.
I think realistically, the end of January.
Okay.
Okay,
So
I mean, it
January
is what it
31st?
is.
Draft final, 31st of January.
All right.
I mean, at some point, formally or informally, we'll need weigh in from the planning board.
Well, yeah, after we have the final draft, I think that's what we bring to the planning board, and then they have to review it and vote to approve it.
Yeah, I think we need.
I think if we haven't heard from them, you and I need to go to the planning board and say, this is it, you know, I just gotta get on board.
I think we need before the 10th of December.
Yeah,
to hear
right.
from the
Yeah.
planning board.
So we would go to their
planning
next
board,
meeting.
Are they on Mondays?
Every other Monday.
Okay, is it the 17th coming up?
They just had one on Monday.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 24th.
And the 24th is gonna be canceled. Tim, the 24th is gonna be canceled for planning board.
That's like 4 days before Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
So
and that's,
much-
I think that's
so
why
much
they're gonna.
time. There's no excuse. Let's see.
Well, so then maybe they would have their first meeting, or the meeting on the 1st of December if they cancel the 24th. So that's the meeting that we would need to go to.
Which my wife's on, I think she said they're gonna cancel because of lack of, because of the holiday week.
The 24th?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think, I'm trying to remember a conversation with Matt, it's either December 1st or December 8th.
No, she said that it's still on for the 24th.
It is.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Well, it really better be now, shit.
but we'll see.
Of all the groups, that's the one that has to, they have to
So
give us.
December 1st?
Or the
The
24th.
24th is our next meeting.
Yeah. So let's just plan on going on the 24th.
Oh, I thought you said that was gonna be canceled.
No, I thought so, she said too, but she said no, they're having it.
Oh, good,
Okay.
okay, so yeah, I guess we can go with that. And what's it, 7?
6.
So in the interim, we'll send you the 3 things we discussed with you today. Any feedback before the 10th would be super helpful, so we can get you a revised version of all of that. And then share that out with you in advance of the 10th. So on the 10th, you have had the opportunity to have seen it and said, we asked you to do this and you still haven't done it. Or this is all great, or somewhere in between. So that way we can sort of use the 10th. We're not introducing you to things. I think this was really helpful, I think, because we realized that we were getting a little bit down the road in this one. So, well, we've got to come back to the Master Plan Steering Committee and explain to them how we got to where we think we are. And now I think your homework for the next few weeks will be to look at those documents and provide feedback if you have it.
We've identified some plans, like the hazard mitigation plan, the open space plan. I'd like to make a recommendation that we put those plans, maybe not the whole plan itself, but just identify the plan, like when it was done, and when it's supposed to be done, in the existing condition section of the document. Is that an
I
appropriate
thought it
place?
was in the existing conditions.
So you think it's there?
I know we discussed putting it there, I will double check.
Because I think that makes
Yeah.
the most logical sense.
My understanding was we had, because I know we have a list of all of
Yeah.
those things, but I thought we included that list in the existing, but yes, absolutely.
Alright, so the final thing that I wanted to just cover in this meeting was on, next Tuesday, we do have the special town meeting, so we do have a presentation, made for that. Lonnie Interested helped put that together. So I can just share it on the screen. And then for people who are a little further away from the screen, the slides with the small text I did print out. So I will send that to whoever is interested in not hurting their eyeballs. I anticipate this being 5 minutes tonight. And hopefully only 8 minutes for the time on Tuesday. So. Okay. Title slide. Full picture. This is the vision, shared community vision. So like this is like what the master plan is. We've seen this slide a whole bunch, but it's just to bring again people who might not have seen it. Yes, we're here. It's the report. It is December. Well, almost. I'm going to highlight yes, the output of this is a master plan. These are the types of things that are going to be in it. Probably just expand slightly a little bit more. This is a combination of some other slides that we've seen a couple of times of all the different touch points and how we just did a lot of community outreach. I'm going to highlight the existing conditions report because I would like people to read about it. So I think it's a very informative document. I'm going to highlight the 8 goals that all of the public input produced. Go over the recommendation sheets, how each one will have this type of information on it, and what type of information it will say. I'm not going to read all these things tonight or next week, but it's more of just this is, these are the different recommendations, the ones that are highlighted are identified as must-haves that go under each goal. With obviously the caveat that this is still in review, things could change, are changing a little bit from the feedback from committees, as well as the reorganization of some recommendations. So this just goes through all 8. What's next? How are we going to do this? These different methods, committee, checklist, table. This is to create the future vision. This was a handful of slides at that last info session, but this is consolidated into 2. I'll probably pick one from each slide that means something and go through it a little bit more, or make a summary highlight of all of them. I'll ask AI to produce something to say about these in a short fashion. And these are just the next steps. So once we finalize these, we submit it to the planning board and they approve, and then it's done. And then we have a great, wonderful plan that everybody loves. We will cherish fondly and hold people accountable. But